So we move to the panel. So we're gonna. It's really good. Really, we're talking about building HR or people analytics capability in three very different types of organisation, and we've got three great speakers and great people as well, as you said, Al. And they're coming up now, and I will introduce each of you and ask you for a proper introduction as well. So just to kind of frame the panel, really, people analytics, as we know, it's the fastest growing function of HR. In companies where there is an appetite for data, where there's strong stakeholder equity and a skilled team, people analytics has really been elevated during this crisis. It's one of the bittersweet elements of it, I guess, and we've been hearing about that for the last 2 days. We're fortunate at Insight 222 that we work with 70 people analytics teams in global organizations. We know that building capability in people analytics isn't easy. We've done it ourselves in the past. Whether it's creating strong governance, ethics, and data standards, as Al and I have just been speaking about, whether it's prioritizing business over HR problems, whether it's managing stakeholders across and at all levels of the organization, whether it's building a team with the right skills and technology stack, whether it's developing a data culture in HR and ultimately in delivering value to the business and its workforce. We know that people analytics can provide a lot, but we also know it's a challenge, but it's an exciting challenge. There's no one size fits all solution. Every organization is different. Nevertheless, there are some underlying principles that help drive success in companies across different sectors, geographies, and business strategies. And I think we'll learn about some of those underlying principles over the next 50 minutes. In the panel, we're going to explore how three very different organizations in three separate sectors are building capability in people analytics. I'll ask each of you to provide a more detailed introduction to yourselves in a minute. But for navigating this, in the top left, we have Sophie Rwegera Khadhraoui, and I apologize if I've not pronounced your surname properly, Sophie, who's head of people analytics at the International Committee of the Red Cross. In the bottom left, we have Oliver Kasper, who's the head of corporate people analytics, digital HR, and portfolio strategy at SWAROVSKI, based out of Zurich. And we have Jerome Manville, head of global HR analytics at AXA Group, based in Paris. The first question, I think, will help highlight the differences between the types of organization that each of our panelists is on. So Sophie, if I start with you, can you introduce yourself and explain, how you initially set up people analytics in the International Committee of the Red Cross, and what worked and why, and what didn't?
Yeah. Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, everyone. I'm Sophie Rwegera Khadhraoui, head of people analytics at the ICRC. Before I start sharing my people analytics journey, could we just spend 1 minute showing what the ICRC is doing around the globe? So I ask to display a quick video. Would it be possible to launch it?
This isn't a story about hate. It's a story about love. In the last 5 years, we've witnessed violence in Syria, South Sudan, Ukraine, Central African Republic, Yemen, and a score of other nations. A few of more than the 80 countries we've worked in, without fear or favour for more than 150 years. In that time, we've garnered 3 Nobel Peace Prizes, more than any other organisation in history. But this comes with losses. Every year we see colleagues caught up in the crossfire, sometimes killed or kidnapped. Amidst some of the harshest conflicts on earth, we assist with the basics of life: water, food, shelter. We work with communities to repair central infrastructure, like roads and water systems. We support people to support themselves through small businesses and loans. And we send war surgeons, nurses and doctors to where they're most needed.
Thank you very much. So the ICRC was created in 1863. We have at the moment 20,000 staff across 90 countries. And our people analytics journey started 4 years ago. It was a bit me, myself, and I. I came with an analytical background, but from the operation, from the business, you would say in the private sector. And the first objective was really to focus on staffing trends. And slowly and surely, we expanded to diversity, inclusion, talent management, and HR operation. What worked? First, we managed to democratize data. As we speak, we have developed 110 dashboard with significant views. We made data available. We succeeded in making people analytics essential and critical to HR. And we really succeeded to provide key HR analysis to support global decisions. But we also missed some opportunities. And if I look back, I would say what didn't work is we underestimated the amount of work to be done around data culture, data-driven approach, and data literacy within HR. We assumed that we could just deliver dashboard and analytics without actually teaching, coaching people to how to use it. And I also say that we were two people. We were still at two people, although we're expanding. And we had to prioritize, and definitely we have missed some opportunities to position ourselves in the organization. So I would say this was a bit my overview after these 4 years.
Sophie, thank you very much. And we'll certainly come back to the data culture piece later in our discussion. So moving to Oliver. Obviously, Oliver, you're a family-run organisation at SWAROVSKI, which obviously brings added nuances, I think, to your role.
So I'm Oliver Kasper. I work in strategy consulting. I was in a lot of permanent positions now since 6 years in SWAROVSKI. From SWAROVSKI, everybody knows us as being a retail company. So we have approximately 10,000 people in retail, but we have also 15,000 people in production. So we are more a production company at the end than a retail company. And the family is, the company is owned by the family for SWAROVSKI, but also operated. So the top management level in SWAROVSKI is also a SWAROVSKI family. I think that's a big difference to other companies and brings a lot of benefits overall. So when did our journey start? So in 2015 already, like we did a 2.5 years digital transformation in the company. We were setting up shared service center. We standardized global processes, governance. We reorganized HR and built a kind of the foundation for moving into people analytics. This was a long story and a long transformation program. And then the people analytics started around 2017, 2018. The first thing which we did was starting with an executive scorecard, which was the first step into data-driven HR. So we had an intense rollout approach for the executive scorecard, mainly focusing on top management. And then we moved forward very fast to high business impacting projects. So the three themes we are tackling at the moment from a people analytics point of view is number one, which is our core focus, is like drive better sales with people analytics. That's one, which focuses on our retail organization, the 10,000 people. The second topic is how can we increase production efficiency and production quality with people analytics, which focuses more on our production side, our 15,000 people. And the last thing which we started now, how can people analytics drive culture in the company, which is the third pillar. And all of our initiatives are built on these three building blocks, definitely. So what worked well? I have the pleasure to work with a really great team from day one and could extend the team. So I'm very happy to have a great team that supports me directly, but also extended team. We focused right from the beginning on business topics. We did not work really on HR topics. And we focused right from the beginning, not really on reporting, but on predictive business impacting projects. And I think this paid out and gave us a lot of visibility and transparency and support, especially on top management level. I think what we could have done a bit better, maybe we did at the beginning a bit too much marketing when we started and got a bit overwhelmed with the requests for our team. And I think we could have at one time have stopped a bit marketing and focused then also on delivering and also pleasing all of the stakeholders which we are having. So that's a bit a nutshell from the Swarovski perspective.
Thanks, Oliver. And I know you know some of the great work that you've been doing within the company. And you're right. I guess it's that balance between marketing your services too much and then getting a flood of requests. And then you have to work out a way to prioritize them, which we'll probably talk about a bit later. So moving to Paris, Jerome, great to see you. So again, similar, same question. Can you introduce yourself to the audience and explain how you initially set up people analytics at AXA? And I know AXA is slightly different because it's a very decentralized organization. So you have pockets of capability around the world, don't you? So can you provide an example of a successful people analytics project that you've done at AXA and also why you chose that particular project? So I'll let you describe that.
Thanks a lot, David. Hello, everybody. So AXA, it's an insurance company of more than 121 key employees over 57 countries. So behind the figures, we've got a lot of efforts to build the capability, to build the analysis. So all those figures, you can find it on the annual report, and we will send to you the link to see the different figures on absenteeism, on workforce dynamics, and so on. Since 10 years, there are a team collecting and analyzing all those elements over 300 entities and with more than 300 indicators. And I'm in charge of this team since 2.5 years now. And I've got a challenge since 2.5 years. It's to go a step further. To go a step further with more analytics and to rely on our global HRIS with thousands and thousands of data. So my challenge since 2.5 years was definitely to build this HR analytics capability. So the main project was to build this capability. Basically, it was to build a global data lake with a visualization tool. And now we succeed to integrate all those data and to visualize all those data across the organization on the different layers of the organization by country, by continent, and so on and so forth. So the real challenge was to do that, to set the stage, if I may. And now we are able to do much more analysis on a cross-domain perspective and even to integrate some external benchmark and to do some prospective. So in a nutshell, the challenge in terms of people analytics was to create the capability, and I will elaborate a little bit more later on it.
So I'll go Oliver on this one. I think you kind of hinted at a couple of areas where you're been focusing your efforts. Can you provide an example of a successful people analytics project you did and why you chose that project as well?
Okay. Yeah, it's a pleasure. So I would like to focus on our key initiative, which is like drive better sales with people analytics. So that's the key theme, and we have like 6 underlying projects and where we'll go one into detail. So on drive better sales with people analytics, we looked on one thing, which is retention. We had on some key markets intense retention challenges. We look on how to find the best store manager, how to find the best sales agent, how to have the optimal staffing and scheduling in our stores, what's the best team in a store, and the last one is how do we find the best training possibilities in for our retail staff. And I would like to focus on the training piece. So what we do, we have around 10,000 people in retail, and this 10,000 people in retail get around 400,000 training nuggets per year. And this training nuggets is the majority is online training, and some of them is also face-to-face training. But we did not know in the past what kind of training, what sequence, offline, online, has the highest business impact for our sales. So we did a globally driven people analytics project, a predictive project, and analyzed the impact of training to our staff. And what we did there, we analyzed it, and based on the results which we had, we changed our approach, how we train our employees. We did some shifts between online and offline trainings. What also happened, we got investment to have even more face-to-face trainings, more than in the past, and this changed completely how we train our retail staff globally. And even this, we are currently even going further. So what is the shelf time of training, and having a second study on this. And the good thing is we could, on the other side, on the first side, improve sales, and we have proved this by A/B testing, by the optimized training approach which we are having. But on the other side, we also increased overall employee engagement, which is our theme. We want to improve business performance, but we also want to make the life of our people better in the company. So this is one of our projects which I would like to highlight from a Swarovski people analytics portfolio point of view.
And I imagine, Oliver, that the reaction of executives and managers within Swarovski has been very favourable to this sort of project, because you can see the clear impact on business performance, and, as you said, you know, the engagement of the workforce as well.
Yes. So one key, and we'll mention this also most probably later, is really you need to ensure that you hit, when you want to get business attention, you need to ensure with your projects that you tackle business problems and increase business performance. And this is one of our key topics which we do, and we got also quite some positive feedback and support from our business side.
That's great. Thanks, Oliver. So, Sophie, same question to you. Example of a successful people analytics project that you've done, and why you chose that project.
Yeah, last year we decided to conduct a research to see the impact of staffing, diversity, inclusion, and turnover on our operation. The idea was really to connect the HR data with the operational data, to which extent the HR trends are impacting our way of delivering humanitarian aid to people. We conducted this research with external consultancy firm to really accompany us during the discussion with the leadership, to identify the burning question, to prepare the data collection, data cleaning, but also doing some testing relationship and variables and hypotheses. And it was a very good project because it involved people analytics expert, but also data scientist and my team. It was a learning project also for us because we learned a lot of novelties. And it reassured, I think, the leadership that we were on track with the people analytics function and activities. This research was really important for us because it looked at the data over the past 10 years. So really providing a baseline for further analytics in the future. So now we have descriptive analysis and also intelligence and insight over what happened in HR in these three areas over the past 10 years. So it was really important for us. It gave us a baseline. It reinforced the fact that people analytics is important for leaders outside of HR. And also it gives visibility because I can see that some of the findings from this analysis stayed in mind, and people are sometimes referring to that and say, oh, when we did that, I remember this was a turnover for people in this specific location, etc. So it really gave a baseline for a stronger people analytics capability within the organization.
Great. What a fantastic project as well. Be able to go back 10 years as well. I think that's, that gives, as you said, a great basis then to build upon and see the impact of different trends, I guess, and different things like COVID-19, for example, and the impact that actually has on the organization, which we'll definitely get to later as well. So again, I know that you've all roughly been, the teams have been around for a bit similar amount of time actually, and I know that they're structured quite differently. So how has your team evolved since it was set up in terms of skill, structure, and scope? So this is probably about adding skills at the right time, etc., which I guess will be different. So Jerome, I'll come to you first on that question.
So since 2 years and a half, actually, the team is quite stable, and it's definitely a key success factor to keep the same team, almost the same team during quite long period. On the technical side, we've got profiles for the data integration, data analysis, and data scientists for sure, so 3 people more or less. And on the other side, we've got a people analytics leader at a global level, so it's myself, and a business analyst. So the stability of the team is definitely a key success factor. The element, depending on the phases of the project and on the topic, we rely on some experts on the specific domain, like expert on compensation, and it's really important to involve them to indicator, to validate the visualization, to validate the exploration of the data. So in a nutshell, first, a core team stable, and second, rely on experts on their domain to reinforce your analysis and to understand better your data.
Perfect. Yeah, because I know some teams that they have the question on, do we hire a data scientist or do we work with a data science team that's based elsewhere in the organization, maybe a centrally based organization. We can draw on their resources as and when we need them, particularly when you're getting started up. So great, thank you, Jerome. So similar question, same question to you, Sophie. I know you in your introduction you said you've got a relatively small team. You're achieving a lot with that, but how's the team kind of evolved over the 3 years?
So I would say almost 4 years. We are 2 now, and so one data and business intelligence specialist. She also doing a lot of data science with analytical, very strong techie background, and myself with analytics and operational background. And also exploring all the HR methodology and practices. And as Jerome said, we also partnering and working a lot with the HRIS team. We have a people analytics focal point who is really working with us closely. We partner internally with experts. We have a team of data scientists in the team of business intelligence specialists, and we partner with them to get the skills that we need when we need them. We also partner externally with a set of consultants that from time to time we work with them. They know already our processes, they know already the organization, so it's really easy to get them on board quickly. So we have a team of 2, but we are expanding and recruiting someone in Sao Paulo, so soon a team of 3. And plus, we really trying to partner with people internally and externally. In terms of skills, we really focus on data science, storytelling, a lot of training and coaching. It's really important, and also influencing skills. So all the consulting skills that you need to actually move forward the people analytics agenda. And I must say, in terms of skills, the people analytics function is rather new in the organization. So we are operating like a startup, and we don't hesitate to go outside to read your article, David, and to learn what others are doing. In terms of structure, we are at the moment within the Global Talent Management Division. And in terms of scope, we started with HR operation, talent management, but as we speak, we are expanding to learning and development and compensation and benefits.
That's great. Thanks, Sophie, and thanks for the shout out. That's very kind of you. And I think one of the features of this community, actually, the people, is it's very collaborative. We're all looking to learn because it's a relatively new field for a lot of us as well, and share and connect with each other. And we're doing it online this time, but we usually do it face to face at these sort of conferences as well. Oliver, same question to you. I know, again, you've in terms of number, a relatively small team in Swarovski, but your portfolio has expanded since you started the team.
So I like what Sophie said, like treat people analytics like a startup, right? So that's how we treated it also right from the beginning. So at the moment we have 3 competence centers in corporate HR. One is the competence center of people strategy, people analytics, and digital HR. And we are, from a corporate point of view at the moment, including me, we are 4 people at the moment, so also rather small. So in terms of skills, how we started it, we first focused also a bit similar like Sophie, a lot on like this business acumen, communication, consulting skills. And we also still focus on this kind of activities because for us it's important to tackle really business problems and to know how to ask questions, to have influencing skills, stakeholder management skills, how to define hypotheses, how to define the real problem. We would really a lot of focus on this right from the beginning and keep on focusing on this one. And then also as our studies are getting more and more complex and sophisticated, we collaborate now intensely. Also, we have a central data scientist team where we have also some dedicated resources to that data scientists are supporting our projects. And also, as we are moving a lot now into behavioral topics, team composition topics in this area, we also have, from a psychology point of view, some internal support, but also some external support moving forward. Since the beginning, as I mentioned, we focus really on predictive, highly business impacting projects, but it does not mean that we don't focus on the reporting piece and on the normal dashboard piece. So there is a team in place that we are working very close with the HR technology team also together. And additionally, we are currently in setting up and will in the future more focus having in our shared service center, our global business service organization resources from a reporting point of view, and also focusing on data quality. So that's a bit our journey, keeping the center team stable more on like business acumen, communication, consulting, and for more the technical psychology topics, sourcing in the organization, but also externally to be able to deliver more and still keeping on strategic activities. That's a bit our approach.
Great, thank you, Oliver. And I love the analogy, Sophie and Oliver, you both use around people analytics being like a startup and to treat it like a startup. And I guess an underappreciated part of people analytics as well is it's about change management and behavioral change as well, which ultimately, to get those insights, actions, you require those skills as well. And that consulting piece is very important. So let's look at some of the critical dimensions required for a people analytics team to be successful. Now, I've unashamedly taken some of the dimensions that we have in the 9 dimensions model at Insight 222, which we help organizations kind of develop their capability in. So let's look at 3 areas. We're going to look at stakeholders, we're going to look at data, we're going to look at technology, and then we're going to move. Each of you is going to take one of those, and then we're going to move to the culture piece, because I think all of you have talked about that. So, Oliver, starting with you, let's look at stakeholders. What has been your approach to building stakeholder relationships with the business and other functions? And what have you learned about doing this, and why is it important, or why have you found it to be important?
Mm-hmm. I think for us, building relationships with stakeholders or senior stakeholders is for us in the center since right from the beginning, because only with getting access to senior stakeholders from a business point of view, you have the possibility to drive strategic business impacting projects. And also you have the possibility potentially also to scale the activities and get additional also budget or more resources in place. So how we did this we tried at the beginning to understand, and for us it helped a lot our executive scorecard which we had, where we had one-to-one discussions with all of our N-1s and also with the majority of our N-2 to understand really what are the business problems they are having quite in detail. We engaged there also at top of our business leaders, also the strategic HR business partners. We have 5 strategic global HR business partners in place. And based on this, we narrowed down the business problems where people or people analytics could help. And based on this, we developed then our 3 dimensions: driving sales with people analytics, increasing production efficiency and production quality, and also how to drive culture. So we have also set up in this area a people analytics board. So in this people analytics board is included our global head of retail. There's included our global head of controlling, because we want to have a kind of a financial stamp and a return on investment we are doing. And also some representatives will be included now from a production point of view. So there was a lot of focus on business and how we can also let the senior business leader prioritizing our portfolio, approving our business case, and also making it accountable that we deliver also the insights in the organizations and take some actions. Other key stakeholders where we focus on was also CHRO. So there were now in the people analytics journey, there were 2 changes from a CHRO point of view, and focus on the CHRO to bring also people analytics on the agenda, especially from a strategic point of view. So what we recently did, we put also the people strategy in the same function, so in our function as a people analytics, which matches quite nicely together. Another stakeholders for us, which we have for all stakeholders a stakeholder plan in place, where we define which actions we would need to do. And to mitigate if there are some challenges. It's on top of CHRO and business leader, also HR business partners. It's the other competence center colleagues, which we need to keep on board. It's our business intelligence organization, which provides a lot of technical infrastructure, but also data scientist support. It's obviously also our legal team. So we are collaborating with our legal team on all of our people analytics projects. And it's our extended people analytics community. And as mentioned, we have dedicated activities for all stakeholders in place to keep them on board and that they support our initiatives.
Thanks, Oliver. And I think to anyone listening, I think what Oliver's just said is the perfect way to engage and work with stakeholders within your organization. And I love the fact that the strategy and the focus is just on those 3 things, but you can clearly see the value that those 3 things bring to Swarovski. So Sophie, moving to you, let's move to data. You talked a little bit around that, and obviously the fact that you must have done a lot to be able to do 10 years of longitudinal analysis on the data that you've got. What steps have you taken to improve data management standards and quality, and how has this helped your work?
I think data quality is a cornerstone of any people analytics function. You can't move ahead forward without a proper data quality. And I think the first mistake that you need to avoid is to get lost in data quality. I think we know that it's not easy to have a perfect HR systems, and sometimes we get stuck and say, we don't do this analysis because we don't have data quality. And I think what is important is to focus on key data points that will enable to move your people analytics agenda forward. So what we did, we didn't focus to the different set of data inconsistencies. We rather focus on set of data inconsistency that were having impact on our people analytics delivery and ultimately on our discussion with the leadership and with the operation. And on these specific topics, we did a thorough work with HR managers, sending a monthly list showing, okay, these are the mistakes, monitoring with the HRIS team on very specific. But I must say it's a very long journey, and we still have things to do. And I think what is really important about the data quality and what we're trying to do is create a data culture. Data quality is not only the responsibility of people analytics, no HRIS, is a responsibility of everyone within the organization. We are evolving into a digital world. So data quality is responsibility of us as employees. I need to make sure that my HR data are correct. Us as managers, I need to make sure that data regarding my teams are correct. And as HR specialists and managers, senior leaders, so on, is the responsibility of everyone. And if you make this clear to people, you start creating a data culture within the organization, and to make sure that people will check from time to time the data to see if there are inconsistencies in our career path data, and so on and so on. I think this is really important. And thus, as I said, we still have a long way to go. The step that we have taken lately is really to create a senior group around data. And this senior group is made of people related to HR systems, people related to HR processes, and people related to HR data, because these three can't be separated. You can't look at data inconsistencies without actually looking at HR data systems, HR processes, and so on. So I think it's the 3 point is first, really focus on key data point. Second point, create a data culture. And 3, take it have a holistic approach. HR processes, HR systems, HR data.
Thanks, Sophie. And I really like just going to pick on a couple of points there. I think really important point you made, don't get lost in data quality. You can be improving the quality of your data, and as you say, creating that data culture in parallel with doing people analytics work. Al mentioned yesterday that he and Jonathan Farrar aren't fans of maturity models in people analytics. Neither am I, because it implies that you have to do the piece at the bottom before you can get to 4. I think you can do it in parallel. And I also like the fact, similar to Oliver, that kind of governance you've got behind it as well, by having a senior group that meet around data, a bit similar to Oliver and your people analytics board with actual prioritizing the work as well. I think governance, again, is an underappreciated element of people analytics. So, Jerome, moving to you, the third dimension is technology that we're going to talk about. What involvement have you had as a people analytics leader in selecting, implementing, embedding, or even creating technology within AXA, and how has this helped your work?
Okay, thanks for the question. First of all, I fully agree with Sophie about data quality. Data quality shouldn't be a blocker, and we have to develop our analysis and to improve the data quality on our journey. About the technology, actually, the choice of the technology has been done before I joined the team. Basically, it's an Hadoop data lake on premise with a visualization tool, a Spotfire visualization tool. So for me, it was an assumption, it was a given. Now, we've got 2 parts on the technology. We've got the technical part and the business part. On the technical part, it's still a complex technology. We need really a very good team on the integration of the data modeling, and so on. It's not obvious at all. It could be painful. It's long, a lot of effort, and it's definitely the invisible part of the iceberg. But it's really important to build your foundation carefully and progressively. One recommendation is to avoid to put all your data in a data lake just because the technology is able to do it. Think about what are your needs, and to come back to the point of Oliver about the stakeholder management and so on, start by concrete use cases and integrate data progressively. And more than the data quality, you need to understand and to know what are your data before to share it and to show it. Otherwise, you wouldn't be able to provide any interesting people analytics studies. The second part is the visible part of the iceberg. So the visualization, what you are sharing with the business. Thanks to all the literature around people analytics, quite quickly you've got some requests about predictive analysis, prospective analysis, and so on and so forth. So the challenge is really to manage the expectation between the data you've got with their level of quality into your technology and what you are able to share with your stakeholders and the way you are sharing the result. So definitely in terms of technology, you have to find the right balance between the technological complexity and on the other side, the business expectation. And this balance is really the key of the success of your people analytics and of your HR analytics capability. So if you want to reach the moon, you have first to set the stage.
I like that. That's a great saying. I think we'll be writing that one down, Jerome. I like that one. Okay, so we've got about 7 minutes left of the panel. A reminder to everyone that if you are watching live, you're able to go to slido.com and use the hashtag 20EUR to ask any questions. We've got a couple of areas that still want to cover, so we might have to all speed up, including me. We talked about data culture. So, Sophie, coming to you first, what steps have you taken to try and upskill the wider HR community with people analytics and skills such as data literacy, storytelling, hypothesis building?
Yeah, I think to really upskill the HR community, we have taken a strategy with 3 main pillars. The first one is what we call the teabag strategy. This name was given by our head of recruitment, Audrey Forest-Fontenot. And it's you have to diffuse people analytics principles and methodology every day and every time. So it's not about giving a long course on people analytics to HR colleague. It's actually in each interaction trying to diffuse slowly but surely people analytics mindset. So it's one, the teabag strategy. 2, one size does not fit all. You can't take a basic people analytics training and basic coaching approach and trying to give it and share with all HR colleagues. You have to adapt and to customize your approach to recruiters, HR BP, etc., because they have different needs toward people analytics. And last but not least, you have to make people analytics skill accessible. People in HR tend to think that people analytics is a group of techie people, a bit, on the moon and in the cloud, and with data scientists and who are treating and collecting data, and it's complicated and it's a mystery and it's only the leaders and then that I understand. No, you need to crack this down and to make it more as a mindset. We don't expect the HR community to crunch the data. We don't expect them to code the data. We expect them to have a people analytics mindset, to influence leaders, to influence managers, to take better people decisions with evidence. And it's what we've been trying to do with what I call the People Analytics Portal. It's a portal that is accessible for everyone in the organization, employees, managers, HR, and which shows and explain in a short video what people analytics does, explain and share the different dashboard, bearing in mind the access right, and also provide a couple of external resources and tips to unlock the power of data.
That's great. And as a Brit and a big tea drinker, I do love the tea bag strategy. I like that one. That's good. We've got 4 minutes, so Oliver, I'm gonna combine that question with maybe the next one, which was around COVID-19. So, anything additional that you've done to imbue data culture within your HR colleagues at Swarovski, and then also maybe, what has the impact of COVID-19 been on some of the work that you and the team are doing?
So first, like very, very crisp on the data culture. So what we have since the beginning, we've two stakeholder groups. One is the senior HR business partners and the HR leaders. We have, we call this a global HR business partner community, where we upskill them on a regular basis. It's every 4 to 6 weeks. We meet for 1.5 hours and shape their understanding how they can use data, share our projects, get input from them, and explain them about data literacy, storytelling, how you build hypotheses, how we deliver project. And it was very successful from a more top management point of view. And we are starting at the moment to more also for the broader organization to move to data-driven HR, and also the direction what Sophie explained. Coming quickly to COVID-19, this changed our scope completely. So at the moment, you can imagine we have 80% of our shops closed. So we are also not selling too much at the moment. So we are supporting heavily reorganization activities. We have, for example, developed a retail simulator. What is the impact of COVID-19 to our workforce globally? Sounds easy. It's a provider which is used also on top management level, where we simulate actually the COVID activities per country, per cluster, per employee group, and how we drive their actions moving forward. And we also moved now, due to COVID-19, accelerated a bit strategic workforce planning activities. So assessing our current organization, helping designing also new organization, and how to measure and implement the new organization. So our 3 key building blocks are parked at the moment due to COVID-19 for another 2 months, I would say. And then we go back to the normal activities, but fully supporting COVID-19 activities at the moment.
Thanks, Oliver. And Al's kindly said we can have a couple more minutes, which is good. So same question to you, Jerome, around data culture. Again, anything different from or additional to what Sophie and Oliver described, and any work that you and the team have been doing as a result of COVID-19?
So very quickly about the COVID-19, it's an overload, and it's a very big challenge for all HR teams. And I'm convinced that the true analytics will be after the crisis, and we will see how to leverage our data after the crisis to understand what is the concrete impact on our business. Now back to the community and the culture around people analytics. Actually, my priority was to share the topic across our people analytics community in the decentralized group, as I mentioned at the beginning. So my 2 key messages to the community through workshops, through calls, through emails with some insight from David and so on, was to say, first of all, you are not alone, because time to time a people analytics leader or team is quite alone thinking about his indicators and so on. So you are not alone. We can share concerns and work together across the company. And the second point was to say people analytics, it's much more than operational reporting. And we are already convinced within the people analytics community, but outside of the people analytics community, within HR, time to time, we come back to the operational reporting. And if we want, once again, to reach the moon, we need to know what is the moon and where is the moon. So that's it in a few seconds.
Okay, thanks, Jerome. Right. Last question, everyone. It's a quick fire round. So I'll come to you first, Oliver. If you could offer one tip to those people listening who want to build a team or take it to the next level, what would it be?
Focus on business problem, not HR problem.
Perfect. Sophie?
Start small, quick win, and partner with HR and the business.
Perfect. And Jerome, you can have the last word.
So in terms of last word is to say, whatever the team, you need to take care about the data on one side, but also the security of the data. If you take care about the business need, you need to take care also about the compliance. So if you don't take care of that, if you don't highlight those elements, you are definitely killing your HR analytics capability. And whatever the team, whatever the technology, whatever the speech and so on you have done, if you don't take care about the security and don't take care about the compliance, you kill your HR analytics capability.
Perfect. People data for good. Sophie, Oliver, Jerome, thank you very much. It's been a fascinating discussion. Thank you for your time. Stay safe, stay well, and hope to see you in person soon.